and most of the questions were relating to the methodology to be adopted for preparation and how to comprehend a particular subject either at the IPCC level or at the final level, and the examination techniques on how to be successful in the CPT examination or IPCC or final for that matter. There are also specific questions on the attitude or the approach that needs to be adopted in specific instances. I'll be taking upon your questions as we proceed further, but for the time being, let me tell you in a generic manner that preparation for CA examination, whether it is at the CPT level or IPCC level or for that matter final level, the ingredients are the very same. The approach and attitude that is expected of you is also the same. So therefore, let us not discriminate or distinguish the various levels of examination conducted by the ICAI. Suffice it to say that the CPT level students are expected to be thorough on the basics of the subjects within their syllabus. The IPCC students are expected to have a reasonable working knowledge on all the contents of the syllabus, and the final level students are expected to possess advanced level of knowledge. So this is what segregates all of you into various levels in terms of appearing for the examination. Now, as far as the prerequisites for a chartered accountancy student is concerned, let me say that first and foremost, you should have the aspiration to qualify as a chartered accountant. Unless you have the basic interest to become a professional, to become a finance professional, and do that too particularly as a chartered accountant, the journey will not be as smooth as it ought to be. So therefore, that basic interest you must imbibe within yourself. You must aspire to qualify as a chartered accountant, because that aspiration will be the driving force all through the journey of your preparation at various levels of the chartered accountancy examinations. Having said that, I must also insist upon your ability to work hard, your inclination to sweat it out. Most of the questions I glanced through from many of you relate to the success being achieved in a short span of time. I've started preparing this month. Will I be able to take on May examination? How long do I need to work hard? These are all the spectrum of questions. Let me tell you, for some of you, chartered accountancy examinations may appear to be quite easy. For many of you, it might appear to be difficult. But all that you need to realize is, merely because it is difficult, it doesn't mean it is impossible. It is possible for every one of you. When you consider it as difficult, all that needs to be done from your end is, you must work hard. Maybe you must work harder. So that is what it implies. So therefore, the second aspect I want to mention to you is, you must have unconditional commitment to work hard. And besides this, in terms of the perception about this examination, what can motivate you, what can guide you, what can support you, what can stand by you to achieve success is self-confidence. Self-confidence is a very important prerequisite for any student to succeed in this mission to become a chartered accountant. Therefore, my dear friends, besides aspiration, besides the inclination to work hard, self-confidence is of utmost importance. Then the next comes dedication. Dedication implies that you prioritize on what to do and what not to do. The moment you have taken up this course, Chartered Accountancy curriculum, as your target or the goal, you must dedicate to this task on hand. You must prioritize in such a way that nothing else matters. Rest of the world does not exist for you. till you accomplish this goal. I'm not for a moment suggesting that you must renounce this world. While staying connected by all means with the rest of the world, your focus, your concentration must be glued to this sole mission of qualifying as a chartered accountant. And that's what is implied by mentioning that dedication is one of the prerequisites of every one of you. Aspiration, then ability to work hard, self-confidence, dedication, then what else? The last one, as a prerequisite, I would like to impress upon you is determination. The journey till you pursue the goal, achieve it, accomplish it, is not going to be easy. To stay put, to stay on course, you need to have determination. At no point of time you should retrace your steps. At no point of juncture you should abort your endeavor. That is determination. So therefore, my dear young friends, have these 5 requisites to qualify as a chartered accountant. Introspect whether you possess these requisites. Okay, many of you may say, yes, we do possess these requisites. We have the aspiration to qualify as a chartered accountant. We are willing to work hard, and absolute self-confidence is within us, and dedication and determination we are willing to infuse within our style of functioning till we achieve the goal. Then what next? One of the most common questions that all of you have raised, which I glanced through, is what is the strategy of achieving success? Therefore, let me deal with the strategy in a detailed manner. This encompasses even the questions on how do I prepare for that subject, cost accounts, MAFA, taxation, whatever may be the subjects that you are worried about in terms of preparation. But the strategies can be condensed into 5 P's. The first one is planning. But to do this planning, you need to have passion. So therefore, passion succeeded by planning. Then preparation, practice, and ultimately perseverance. So these 5 P's will define the strategy for you to qualify as a chartered accountant. When I mention passion, what does it mean? The best example for passion is Sachin Tendulkar, who aspired to be a cricketer, but the passion he had was to play for the country, India. And that passion became a reality when he was 16 years old, and he continues to excel even after 24 long years of playing cricket for this country. And therefore, passion is nothing but the burning desire, the urge, the zeal that should be within you, driving you pursuant constantly to seek for this achievement, to become a chartered accountant. So passion is the hallmark of the strategy that you need to adopt. Then comes planning. If you fail to plan, that means you are planning to fail. There is nothing worth remembering or memorable in your life can be achieved without proper planning. Planning is the basic, essential, inevitable ingredient of your strategy. And in terms of planning, you have to plan on a long-term basis as well as short-term basis. When you look at a corporate entity, they would plan as to what they want to be by 2015. The country as a whole, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam desired that by 2020 we should be a very powerful nation, a super economy. This is long-term perception. But to reach there, what is that you should be doing on a periodical basis, on a weekly basis, monthly basis? That is short-term planning. So therefore, let us look at what is that you need to be doing on long-term planning angle. First and foremost, you need to be very clear on what kind of books and materials you need to gather for all the subjects in your syllabus. Our Board of Studies brings out with these study materials for each of the subjects, so that in any case you will be getting. In addition to that, maybe one more textbook recommended by ICAI you can possess. So the institute study material plus one textbook would be an excellent combination for you to comprehend a subject and master it. Then in terms of the attempt to be made, the day you joined the course, it would have been very clear to you as to when you are eligible to appear for the examination. It is at that point of time you have to make up your mind on which attempt, whether it is May 2013 or November 2014, or is it in 2015, so on and so forth. So therefore you will have to be very clear on which attempt you are going to aim at, and again, is it going to be for all these papers of both the groups, or will it be group wise if it is IPCC or final? If it is CPT, there is absolutely such a choice does not exist. So therefore, make up your mind on which attempt you are going to endeavor to appear, and whether it is for both the groups or for a single group. Then comes, what is that you are going to do? Will it be a self-study or will you attend classes? ICAI also conducts classes in many of the centers, and in some of the centers there may not be classes. And you also have renowned faculties across India who might be taking classes for the students. So it is left to you to choose which mode and which platform you will make use of to assimilate knowledge, to comprehend the subject. Some of the students have also asked, is it possible for me to make a self-study? Absolutely it is possible. There are rank holders who have attained that feat only by self-study. So therefore it is not inevitable that you need to be attending certain classes. But the ability to grasp a subject and the enabling factors which a faculty will be able to guide you in some of the aspects, if you think it is essential for you to excel, it is inevitable for you to qualify, then you can plan for attending classes and time it also in such a manner that it doesn't clash with your practical training, articleship training, and it is also timed in such a manner that it doesn't come in conflict with your schedule for study holidays, revision, all those things. So therefore, planning for attending the classes and timing them in an appropriate manner is also very essential. Then comes the training period in the office to which you are attached. How do you go about completing the practical training for 3 years? And that schedule you must be very clear. And when do you take holidays? And how do you synchronize it to relate to your study holidays and for appearance before in the examination? So these are all matters which you need to plan on a long-term basis. And as part of your training, you need to also attend and complete these information technology training course and also the GMCS course. So these two courses also you must plan it well ahead and see to it that you complete it within the framework of the ICAI regulations and within the time schedule that you aspire to complete them. Then finally, preparing for examination, getting the best of exposure as part of articleship training are the twin objectives which you must predominantly pursue during this period of your curriculum. In addition to these two, whenever you can find time, you should also work on improving your overall personality, expanding the knowledge horizon within you, build a database, develop a knowledge bank within you, which will enlarge the scope of your intelligence, the knowledge base, and also undergo some of these small training programs or the short duration courses which will, encompass certain skill sets, empowering you with these skill sets. As a youth of this nation, you should be proud that the entire nation is awaiting your arrival as a finance professional. Considering the demographic composition of the world, not just India is awaiting your arrival as a finance professional, even the rest of the world is eagerly awaiting your arrival, because all the economists certainly need the young talent that is available in India. While American population is stagnated population, European, Australian, Japanese population is a declining population, Chinese population is an aging population. It is India's population which is a young population, and therefore this demographic advantage has to be translated into a demographic dividend for the entire world. So it will be appropriate for you to work on empowering you with knowledge and skill sets which might not be within the syllabus. To put it illustratively, you need to improve your proficiency in terms of your communication skills, linguistic skills, technological skills, managerial skills, professional skills. All this you can do side by side in your own way, depending on the environment in which you are positioned and the background with which you operate. So therefore that also could be part of the long-term planning. Having dealt with the long-term planning objectives, let me tell you, how do you reach to the goal? On a short-term basis, how do you go about planning? First and foremost, you should have the habit of planning on a weekly basis. You should have your schedule. In fact, the best disciplined student, can borrow what he was doing during his school curriculum. In the school, you used to operate based on weekly planners, timetables that are given by the schools, respective schools. So the same discipline you need to continue, because Chartered Accountancy course has vast syllabus, divergent topics, and voluminous study is expected of you. Therefore, unless you have a discipline in terms of utilization of time, you will find it difficult to comprehend. So therefore, weekly planner is the first aspect that you should work upon. Secondly, for each subject, you must have a earmarked notebook, or you must have a bunch of loose sheet of papers tagged on together, which you can use as the working papers for preparing notes, for jotting down points, for even mastering the theory by writing and verifying the answers, for working out problems repeatedly, many times, variety of problems. All those things need to be done in a systematic manner by having exclusive notebook for each subject. And the notebooks can keep on getting exhausted as volume 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, till you appear for the examination. So therefore, have that kind of a earmarked notebook or papers kind of an approach. Then the third one is, how do you allocate time? During training period, the time at your disposal for studies would be limited, because you will have to reach the office or the client's place, and then you will return back in the evening, so on and so forth. But all said and done, considering the volume of the syllabus, the best approach is to start from day one. If not from day one, day two. If not from day two, day three. The earlier you start, the better it is. And if you have not started till yesterday, start from tonight, after this lecture. Every day, in spite of your attending to your office training schedule, if only you inculcate within you the habit of reading these subjects at least for 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. If possible, 2 hours and 2 hours. In the worst case scenario, at least half an hour in the morning and half an hour before going to bed. If only you develop this habit of consistency, regularity, then it will be very nice for you to offload the burden of comprehending voluminous syllabus. So therefore, my dear students, time allocation is very, very important. During the study holidays also, how do you ration your time for preparation? In 24 hours, you must be in a position to spend 50% for preparing for your exams, ideally 12 hours. Some of you may spend 2 or 3 hours less. Some of you might be in a position to spend at least on few days 1 or 2 hours more than the 12 hours, which is a standardized time that can be used on a daily basis. Even on an average, if you can effectively utilize 10 hours in a day, that would be an ideal effort during study holidays when you have nothing else to do, nothing else to focus upon. The rest of the time should be devoted for sleeping, relaxing, and eating, and done in proper mix and rotation. One more important point which I want to share in terms of time allocation is the most fresh hour during the day you can allot for the most difficult subject. Maybe the dull hour you can allot for your favorite subject. These are all some of the tactics that you can adopt to ensure that the utilization of time is done in an effective manner. And considering the fact that your examinations are generally held, IPCC and final are generally held between 2 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon, prepare your schedule in such a way that you are at your best between 2 to 5 in terms of delivery, in terms of performance. So your mental faculties should be tuned to be most fresh during this 3 hours schedule, and that you can train yourself right from inception of your preparation. And the last point I want to mention about your time is, during this 3 to 5 years of your time that you spend for Chartered Accountancy curriculum, remember one thing. You are at an age and at this stage in your life which is laying the foundation for the rest of your life. The quality of the foundation laid during this 3 to 5 years span of time will be so critical to determine the profile of your future, the brightness of your future, the resume that will evolve over a period of time in future. And therefore, during this 5 years of your age, maybe spanning from 17 years to 22 years, or 18 years to 23 years, depending on when it starts and when it ends into culminating into the Chartered Accountancy qualification. This 5-year period, my dear young students, do not spend time, but invest time. the qualitative investment that you make out of time will ensure the return is so glorious, so heartwarming, so accomplishing, that you will cherish the investment that you made during this 5-year period. So therefore, remember that you do not have the liberty of spending your time, but you have the privilege of investing your time. Then comes prioritization. You may have to do half a dozen things during these 5 years. You may have to do many responsibilities and roles, social, academic, or otherwise. How do you prioritize? There are only top 2 things that need to be given priority. First is, to successfully undergo practical training for the 3 years. Second is, prepare for each of the levels of the CA examinations and excel in each of them. Besides these 2 tasks on hand, you may still do few other things. But remember, none of those things should come in conflict with these 2 tasks, which rank in priority. So, other than these 2, everything else can be done only when they do not come in conflict with these 2, and only when you find additional time to do them without, making these 2 priorities suffer or get a setback. Then comes periodical review. Not that once you plan at the inception, the same will hold good all through your journey of qualifying. From time to time, you may have to review your planning schedule, and you may have to modify it, you may have to improvise it, you may have to fine-tune it. In fact, planning will help you to also evaluate how many hours you derailed from the scheduled, task, how you got distracted, how the time was diverted for non-priority items. So this review is not only to improvise, but also to bring in more discipline, more systematic approach, so that you are not lost in the journey of achieving this goal. And ensure, for heaven's sake, ensure that you do not get distracted, because what appears to be a short distraction, a small deviation, by the time you look back and realize, might have resulted in wastage of few months, even few weeks lost, could be very, very fatal at this stage of your curriculum. So therefore, ensure that you always stay on course without any distractions till you reach the finishing line. And those who suffer out of the lack of concentration, deviation, or distractions, find it very difficult to recoup and recover to march ahead with this target. So therefore, it's my sincere request to each one of you, avoid distractions, because time, once you deviate from the path, from the chosen path of becoming a chartered accountant, the time that you lose would be unknown to you, and by the time you realize it, it may be too late. Do not belong to the category of students who get distracted and later look back and repent and find it difficult to retrieve and retrace their steps. So therefore, that is my sincere wish and suggestion, that you stay on course in the chosen path till you accomplish the target. My dear young students, now let us come to the critical part of the presentation. Many of you have asked, how do I prepare for that subject, this subject? Let me tell you, the preparation methodology is not different for different subjects. It is uniform. It is the same for every subject in your syllabus. And the preparation methodology, can be comfortably adopted, one standardized for all the subjects. First, let us ask a simple question. When do we start? When do you start preparing? As I mentioned, do not postpone things till study holidays. The earlier you start, the better it is. Every day, consistent preparing. I was mentioning, during your training period also, you can prepare for at least 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. And in the weekends, at least on Sundays, you can spend about 10 hours to further that process. So by this methodology, you have to start at the earliest. In fact, study holidays is the time not to begin your preparation, but to fine-tune it, to strengthen it, to comprehend the subject in a more, commendable manner. It is meant for that. So therefore, start at the earliest. Now, what is the schedule of preparation that you should follow? Any subject, you need to have 3 rounds of preparation. That is 3 times you will have to, from the start to the finish, you need to comprehend the subject thrice. And the first time that you read a subject can be described as familiarization round. This round helps you to know what is in store for you in the syllabus right from the beginning to the end. In a professional examination like chartered accountancy, a student should know something about everything and everything about something, which means that every subject contains a syllabus where you can do ABC analysis. What is this ABC analysis is all about? You divide the syllabus into 3 compartments, 3 segments. This you can do it easily with the help of your faculty or seniors, or even by looking at the past question papers on how the importance is given chapter-wise, topic-wise. I am not asking you to look into the past question papers for making any omissions or to pick and choose on which topic to study, which topic to omit. That is not the objective. The objective is to do ABC analysis. You should be in a position to categorize certain topics within the syllabus as falling within A category, which means they are all very important topics. Then B category topics, which are moderately important. Then the left outs, the rest are C category topics, which are less important. Whether it is more, moderately or less, remember all the topics within your syllabus are important topics. That is why even C category I described it as less important, which implies that you cannot afford to omit them, but you can prorata the time that you are going to spend on the syllabus accordingly. So A category of topics, you need to spend the maximum time. B category, moderate time. C category, lesser time. So proportionately for spending the time, it will help you. And in first round, familiarization round, you need to comprehend all the ABC category of subjects, which shall be a casual reading, a reading which you do at a faster pace. As much speed that you adopt to read a fiction, to read a novel, to read a story, you can try to adopt in the familiarization round. This will help you to comprehend something about everything in the syllabus. Then you move on to the second round, which is the comprehending round. This round is an in-depth preparation because you want to comprehend the subject very strongly from the basics, fundamentals, conceptual understanding, and you need to be thorough. And for that, this round will help you. You should not just read. You should, as you read, you jot down the points. You take notes. You solve illustrations. You work out problems. You also repeatedly work out certain exercises. So therefore, this is how the comprehending round will be at a slow pace, which can consume maximum time. But you will be progressing in your mastering the subject in a slow but steady manner. So that is how it will happen. Then comes, your ability to fill the gaps. That is in the third round of preparation. After familiarization round, after comprehending round, mastering round. This third round, as you go through, you can do it with a moderate pace. Neither the fast pace that you adopted in the first round, nor the slow pace that you adopted in the comprehending round, but a moderate pace. This will help you. In fact, many students call this as a revision. Revision is nothing but this third round, mastering round. Because wherever you consider your grip over the subject is not adequate, you can spend more time. Wherever you think you are very familiar, you can go faster. So it is on those lines you need to adopt this third round to tie up the loose ends, to bridge the gap in your understanding of the subject. So that will bring all these subjects in equilibrium, all the topics with comfort zone that will be given to in terms of your understanding. So once you are through with these three rounds, by the time you pass through these three rounds, you would have exhausted for each of the subjects several pages, or maybe sometimes few notebooks also. So that is how you will have to look at these three rounds. Now, let me tell you, as a prerequisite I was mentioning, you should have the inclination to work hard. And now I was dealing with 3 rounds of preparation, isn't it? And I emphasized on your writing notes, working out problems, trying to master the subjects. So this hard work and these 3 rounds of preparation you will have to synchronize, because you just cannot achieve something in terms of chartered accountancy qualification by a shortcut method, by trying to adopt an abridged version of preparation. That is not the right approach. Let me tell you an anecdote. One guy wanted to become an expert in shooting. So he approached an expert and requested him to train him in shooting. So this expert agreed, bought him a gun, got him a license, and told him, I am leaving out of station. After 10 days I'll be back. Then I'll come to your house. I know you have a gigantic wall in the backyard. So we will go to the backyard of your house and then we will practice. After 10 days, the expert came and they went to the backyard, and the expert was stunned to look at the wall, because on the wall in the backyard there were circles of different sizes, and in each of those circles he was flabbergasted to find the bullet mark in the center. Somebody has hit in each of those circles at bullseye. So he asked, being amazed, who did this? The beginner who is yet to start learning said, I only shot. Then he was, astonished. He asked him, for 15 years I have been in this field. Even I cannot do this kind of a precision shooting. So how did you manage to do? Did you go close to the wall and shoot? Then this person said, no, the same distance as all of you maintain before, as a standard practice. Then he said, then you must, you don't need any guidance, you must teach me how to do this. For which that person answered, the answer is very simple. The technique is very simple. All of you draw the circle and shoot, whereas I shoot and then draw the circle. That makes the difference. Let me tell you, my dear young friends, in real life situation, it never happens like this. In a competitive event, in a CA examination, you cannot achieve success by any such shortcut method. So therefore, you need to sweat it out. You need to have a methodical, systematic approach through these 3 rounds: familiarization round, comprehending round, and mastering round, by which you will be in a position to gain command over the entire syllabus, spanning over the number of subjects that are contained in your syllabus. We just analyzed as to when do we start preparing. Now it is also time to learn when do we stop, when do we conclude, when do we terminate our preparation. In fact, I asked a batch of students, before your examination, after you complete preparation, what do you do? To put it differently, after you conclude your preparation, before the actual examination, what do you do? The reply was amusing. They said, where is the gap? There is no gap in between our completing preparation and the commencement of the examination. We keep on preparing and the examination comes and we write the exams. That should not be the approach. My dear young students, you must complete your preparation at least, 2 weeks before the examination if you are preparing for IPCC, 1 month before the examination if you are preparing for final. What do I mean when I say you must complete preparation? What I mean is there should be nothing new learnt after that point of time. You should not be trying to gather new information related to the examination. No new knowledge acquisition after that cutoff date. So therefore, once you draw a line, say for example, if not 1 month, at least you should be in a position to conclude your preparation. Let us say for May examination, you should have completed your preparation by today. For November examination, by October 10th, you should complete your preparation for CA final. And then the next question will arise. What do you do during this 20 days gap? For IPCC, that 2 weeks gap before the commencement of the examination. That takes us to the next P. Having the passion, you have done the planning, and you also did the preparation through the 3 rounds, which I described. Now comes practice, which is very critical. Practice for performance is another essential ingredient in the strategy. Many of the brilliant students who have immense knowledge in the contents of the syllabus, command over the subject, find themselves unable to succeed in the examination. What is the reason? Inability to present the answers as how they are expected by the person who is going to evaluate the answer sheets. So this is what we call as performance gap. You have the ability to perform, but you are not able to deliver. And that is where practice to perform is very, very critical. You will appreciate, my dear young friends, when I say it is not the question of your knowing the answer that gets you the mark. It is your ability to enable the examiner to know what you know that gets you the mark. then how do you enable the examiner to know what you know? Only by writing model examinations. At least 2 mock exams for every subject is a essential one. I am not for a moment trying to say that you just cannot pass without writing model examinations, because some of you in the audience might say that I qualified IPCC without writing model exams. Maybe possible. I'm not trying to say that you cannot pass without writing model examinations. All that I am trying to say is you cannot fail if you have written model examinations. Why not ensure, secure your pass by writing model examinations? Because, you know, for some of these students who prepare well, who attempt, who fail, but recovering from that failure, learning from that failure, gaining experience from that first attempt failure, in the second attempt they get all India rank. The reason is the experience they have gained. Now, why do you gain experience in the real examination? Why not you gain experience by writing model examination and learn the lessons, identify the mistakes that you are capable of committing, eliminate them, eradicate them, minimize them, and, you know, go to the real examination as a seasoned examinee. So 2 model exams for each subject makes it 16 model examinations for final. So you should be in a position to write 2 model examinations in the same sequence or in any sequence before you appear in the real examination. And one critical question which many of the students have asked: how do we revise before the examination? Because many students who find that they need 48 hours to revise a subject, 36 hours to revise a subject when halfway through their preparation, remain in the same pace of revision even just before the examination. Therefore, in spite of the fact that ICAI provides 1 holiday in between 2 examinations, you are not in a comfortable position to revise the whole subject. You feel the time is inadequate. When we were writing exams, there were no holidays in between the exams. We used to write consecutively on consecutive days. And there are certain professional bodies who hold their exams, 1 exam in the morning, 1 exam in the evening. So how do you manage this revision is one of the critical questions which many of you have asked. Let me answer that particular point. See, as you write 2 model examinations for each subject, your ability to revise faster also is inculcated in you. Maybe initially you needed 36 hours to revise a subject. That time should come down to 24 hours, 1 month before the examination. And as you are revising for 2 model exams, it should still get condensed into 12 hours, 15 hours. You should be in a position to effectively revise by the time you reach the real examination, twice at least, if not thrice. Twice you will be in a position to successfully revise for your examination. That will be the pace, that will be the speed with which you are able to comprehend the subject. You know, initially when you read your notes, you may have to read word by word to assimilate. Later, line by line to assimilate. Later, much later, para by para. And by the time you write the model exams, you will be in a position to comprehend the contents page by page. As you turn the page, you will be in a position to glance the contents of that page in a span of few seconds, few minutes. A category few minutes, C category few seconds. This is how you will be in a position to revise effectively at the same time at a faster pace. Let me also tell you at this stage, my dear young friends, you know, from comprehension round to the mastering round, also you would have solved many problems. You should be able to monitor the time that you have taken to solve a particular every problem. When you commence solving it, note down the time. When you completed it, again you should have noted down the time. You should measure how many minutes it took to solve that problem. 1 week later, 1 month later, when you solve the same problem, you should be in a position to compare and see how faster you are able to solve, how accurately you are able to solve. Lesser number of minutes, lesser number of mistakes or no mistakes. This is the progress you need to monitor. This is how you will have to effectively, become competitive in terms of presentation in the examination. And in the model examination, you will be able to still advance yourself to solve the problems at a much faster pace, and you will be gaining time. You will be gaining control over non-committing of mistakes. So these, to achieve success, twin attributes of a student, speed and accuracy. How do you get that speed and accuracy? How do you compete with the millions who write across the country in the examination? You have unknown rivals, unknown competitors who are competing to qualify. And how do you gain over and succeed, have an edge over them by acquiring this speed and accuracy? 2 model exams per subject. It not only improves your speed and accuracy, it also removes your fear and tension. See, all along you keep preparing, but you face the examination directly. Everybody is bound to have that kind of initial hiccups, fear and tension. By writing model exams, you overcome that. You totally eliminate fear and tension. Then it sharpens your ability even to understand the questions. 2 students who read the questions, one understands it straight away correctly and solves it. Another one understands it wrongly, goes in a wrong path for 10 minutes, then realizes the mistake, scores out that answer, writes the proper answer. In the process, he has lost valuable 10 minutes. So you should not belong to that category. Even to read and understand the question, you need training. And that is what is provided while you write the model exams. And finally, better presentation of answers. You will gain in terms of quality, legibility, clarity in presentation. That will be yet another advantage in terms of what you gain out of the model examinations. Having mentioned the strategy, the 5 P's in terms of passion, in terms of your planning, preparation, practice, I must also mention you should have perseverance. And about perseverance, maybe for the time being I'll defer, and before I deal with perseverance, let me deal with, because as we are talking about practice for performance, what are the presentation skills that you need to focus upon in the examination? For that, let us pick up few examination techniques. In terms of examination techniques, my dear students, you need to know how to manage the time. All the students are given 180 minutes to score 100 marks. And again, let me not tell you, it is not from a pool of marks you are asked to grab as much as you can. No. Each student is reserved with 100 marks. Therefore, you have an exclusive quota of 100 marks available to you. How much of that you are in a position to grab? You are able to gain over the 180 minutes. For that, attempting 100 marks, attempting questions carrying 100 marks is essential. You should not omit or skip any question. And therefore, time management. I have seen students who knew answers for all the questions, but come out and say, I could not attempt because, time was insufficient. So for want of time, you should not miss out writing answers. So time management. For that, what you should do, you should ration your answers. If a question carries 20 marks and you can afford to spend 30 minutes in answering it, you should be in a position to do that. So on a pro rata basis, about 1.5 minutes for each mark, if you can do it, so that even if there is some complication, somewhere you get stuck up, you have a cushion of 30 more minutes, isn't it? 180 minutes, 150 minutes for actual performance. 30 minutes reserve is always there to spend additionally in difficult situations. So therefore, time management is one essential thing. Second thing is sequencing. How do you sequence your answers? It is not necessary that you should numerically proceed and answer the questions. You can answer in whatever sequence you are more comfortable with. I would recommend, you get 15 minutes before the start of the examination just to read and assimilate the questions, isn't it? So in that 15 minutes, you can decide on the strategy of sequencing the answers. How do you sequence? Put all the questions in 3 compartments. First compartment, again, well-known and easy, less time-consuming. So you can answer that first compartment. Second compartment, known but time-consuming or difficult. So attempt that in the second sequence. The last sequence is the rest of the questions. Hopefully it should be nil, but even if you have some, that is the, you push them to the last stage and try to do that. And even in that first or second compartment, you thought it is known and easy or known and time consuming, attempted to do it, but you get stuck up somewhere. Allot few grace minutes, few additional minutes to resolve it, to crack it. But still, if it is not falling in place, what do? You don't struggle with it. You skip it, leave the space, attempt the next one and go on. After attempting all the questions, come back and if time permits, try to close or solve or finish or tally the balance sheet, do all that. In a professional examination, it is not necessary that you must perfectly finish it for you to get the marks. You will get proportionate marks. So therefore, sequencing is another technique. Then working notes and assumptions must be part of your answer. It is not enough if you just give the main solution. You have to support your main solution with assumptions that you made or working notes which were used to draw the conclusions. Then legibility and clarity. Do not make it a cumbersome process for the examiner to read your answers and a lot. I'm not saying your handwriting should be beautiful or all that. With whatever style you have practiced, legibility and clarity. And again, in a professional examination, quality and relevance go together. It is not the size of the answer that matters. Brevity is good enough. But brevity coupled with quality, legibility and clarity should get you the best of the marks. So that is how minutes or seconds. And you think of your parents or your teacher or the divine, you invoke the divine blessings. All that happens. You take deep breath and position yourself, and you are ready to collect the question paper and read it, analyze it, decide the strategy, sequencing, and then you have 180 minutes to perform, isn't it? At that point of time, or as you are revising for that day's examination or the next day's examination, do not have any prediction as to how the question paper is expected to be or what it ought to be. One thing certain about CA examination is that the questions can be most unexpected. The pattern need not be predictable. So therefore, go with a mindset where you are willing to face any pattern of question paper, any composition of questions. So with that open mind, with a willingness to face the challenge, if you go, then you will not have the so-called initial shock or the surprise that paralyzes you from performing to your best. So therefore, never have this predictability. Then second one, please do not consider CA examination as another examination that puts you to memory test. No. No doubt, memory helps you. Memory power is required for you to have the knowledge content to be translated into the expected answers. But have a conceptual approach. Because if you are very strong on concepts, whatever be the methodology of or pattern of the question, whatever is the case study that is framed, you will be in a position to give the required answer. It is not the exact question that you solved that is going to come. A modified version of that would invariably come. And in such a situation, what will stand by you is the conceptual understanding and not just the memory. Then again, as a performer, desist from evaluating your performance. During the examination hours or after the examination hours, for heaven's sake, do not assume the role of an evaluator. A performer should not be a judge. You just cannot sit in judgment over your performance, even while you are performing or after you completed performing. That job is left to someone else, and your job is to try to put your heart and soul, give your best, and try to excel, even in the most adverse situation. Even if the situation is so bad that you have doubts about your ability to succeed, does not matter. You are there to give your best. That 180 minutes, nobody can desist you from giving your best. Nobody can expel you from the examination hall. You just cannot retire hurt, even if it is impossible for you to perform. That 180 minutes, that pitch is given to you for you to bat, undeterred, determined, till the 180th minute. Keep hitting, keep solving, keep scoring, whatever way. So that should be, so never assume the role of an evaluator. Be non-emotional. As a performer, you should neither be shocked or feel depressed, nor you should be celebrating because it is to your expectation or it is easy. Because when you are emotional, you tend to commit mistakes. When you are joyful also, it mars your performance levels and standards of delivery. And let me tell you, students, you just cannot afford to be a pessimist in the examination hall. While you are preparing, in general life, in human life, they would say you must always be an optimist. You should never be a pessimist. I would tend to be giving you a different message. As far as the CA examination preparation approach, attitude is concerned, be a pessimist up to a particular point of time, and at a certain stage, be an optimist. When should you be pessimist? When you are preparing for the examination, you must be pessimist. You must prepare for the worst. You must prepare for the most difficult paper. You must prepare for a tough question paper. So therefore, be a pessimist as you are preparing. Be an optimist as you walk into the examination hall. Till the 180th minute, till the last examination, right from the first to the last examination, all the 3 hours each, you should be the best optimist in this world. You should, even in the adverse situation, be able to think, I should be able to score the maximum marks, and keep toiling, keep slogging every minute with that motivation, with that target in your mind. And let me tell you, my dear young friends, never have a breaking point. You should never be, stunned by any pattern of question paper. You should believe that you have to sail through all the examinations till the last minute. Let me also clarify on some of the wrong notions which are reflected in many of the questions. One of the thought process that is there circulating, which has culminated into few questions is, is there a predetermined pass percentage? Institute, the ICAI will not pass beyond a certain percentage. ICAI will bring down the pass percentage. These are all wrong notions. There is no predetermined pass percentage at all. The pass percentage depends upon the performance of the students. the quality of the performance determines the pass percentage. If the batch has performed very well, the pass percentage goes up. It is not done well, then the pass percentage can come down. So therefore, eliminate this kind of a notion from your thinking process. Second one, is there a discrimination based on attempts, based on centers? No. The examiner doesn't even know which attempt you have appeared this time, and he doesn't know from which center you wrote the examination. All your papers are codified, and they are all shuffled and mixed up and sent to different evaluators. So therefore, no one would know from which center and what is this attempt you have made up. Then allocation of marks. Point wise you will get the marks, step wise you will get the marks, and even if your answers are incomplete, you will get proportionate marks. So therefore, do not have any inhibition on that front. So try to attempt as much as possible and maximize your scoring. Then again, is it mandatory to write section numbers? Is it inevitable to write case law numbers in some of the subjects like company law, tax law, indirect taxes? Is it necessary to quote the circular number, case law, section number? All these questions keep haunting you. Let me tell you, these so long as you are thorough with the principle involved, the decision concerned, the underlying concept, and you are able to present your answer based on that, you will get significant marks. You will get substantial marks. You will get marks good enough to pass, good enough even to get a rank. If additionally you are in a position to write here and there few section numbers or few names of the cases where it has been decided, if you are in a position to refer to some citations here and there, that will enhance your scoring ability. Maybe to 5 to 10% scoring capacity increases, but it is not essential, it is not inevitable ingredient. And therefore do not stretch yourself to strain, to remember all these numbers artificially. In fact, let me tell you, if you adopt the strategy which we have discussed, putting your heart and soul, you enjoy preparing it because the passion is the driving force. And you plan methodically and invest your time. And you have these 3 rounds of preparation, familiarization, comprehension and mastering rounds. And you also write 2 model examinations, which is practice for performance. In the habit of writing the answers, comprehending the contents, you will be able to remember some important case laws, some important section numbers. Let it be 10, let it be 20, let it be 30, depending on the capability of each of you. You should not standardize. What holds good for one student may not hold good for another student. You will have to adopt and mold whatever suggestions and recommendations I have given you so far. So therefore, you will be in a position to write as part of your answer some of the relevant section numbers here and there, some of the relevant case laws here and there, but it is not all that essential for you to achieve success or to excel. So with that comfort zone approach, you can pursue and adopt. And having said this, attempted to remove some of your wrong notions, let me come back to this last P as part of our strategy, perseverance. Let me tell you, friends, it is possible that some of you who are listening to me have already appeared and failed and feel shattered about it, quite disappointed. It is possible that some of you had an excellent academic career. Track record is so brilliant. You were university first, you were school first, you were college first, and you were recipient of certain medals, gold medals, for some of your accomplishments in the academic pursuits. But first time you face failure in the chartered accountancy examination. Do you think An isolated event defines your personality. A single failure mars the growth path or the brightness of your future. No. Do not allow certain events, certain isolated events to define your personality. Failure is nothing but deferment of success, postponement of success. Success being kept in abeyance. But that is not the end of the road. Let me tell you, my dear young friends, there is no situation in your life which you can describe as end of the road. At the most, it is only a bend in the road. All that you need to do is take a deviation and still reach the destination. You will be in a position to reach the destination if only you have perseverance. Failure is an occasion for you to introspect. Never find excuses elsewhere. Do not attribute your failure to extraneous matters. Put the blame on yourself. Be tough on you. If you are tough on yourself, the life will become easy for you. If you are easy on yourself, life will be tougher for you to experience. So therefore, success is the method. Success is the occasion for you to redefine your goals. I have achieved this, what next? What next? What next? Success is the time for you to redefine your goals. Failure is the time for you to redefine your methods. Maybe the method you adopted is inadequate, is not enough. Alter your method, modify your method. So failure is a time for you to introspect, change your strategy, adopt different methods and still pursue the goal and achieve it. Success introduces you to the world. Failure will introduce the world to you. That is also an experience which you can learn from. Failures are painful when they occur, like mistakes, or painful when they are committed. But cumulatively they are called as experience. Experience is a peculiar teacher. Unlike some of us who are teachers, who teach the lessons and conduct the test, experience will first put you to test and then allow you to learn lessons out of it. So therefore, do not miss any opportunity to learn even out of failures. Look at these two. Out of his failures. Look at Abraham Lincoln. The failures he encountered were enormous. At every stage he encountered failures. But he reached the pinnacle of glory by assuming office as the 16th president of US. And he lives now with eternal existence in the history books, in the annals of world history, US history. And what made it possible? Look at any legend, any legendary personality, any champion in any event, any field, any walk of life. Do you think they have come up without facing failures? No. They encountered failures. They've overcome. They surpassed. It is not the distance that you travel that matters. It is the hurdles that you crossed that makes the journey pleasing and charming when you ultimately achieve the goal. So therefore, from that perspective, my dear young friends, do not give up. Winners never quit, and those who quit cannot win. And some of you may think, is it possible for me to achieve, considering my background, my humble background, and the family background, the curriculum that I have passed through? Is it possible for me to comprehend CA? Look at these two great personalities. Srinivasa Ramanujan, whose contribution to mathematics, field of mathematics was immense, which holds good even now. And Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. as a young boy, he used to distribute newspapers to the household doorsteps. And later, what he became? The first citizen of India. After which, whatever he says, the newspapers are carrying it to the households. And all of us are from humble background. Many of us are from humble background, which makes us think that we may not be able to cross the barriers that appear before us. We will not be able to reach the glorious position which others have reached. No. A teacher in a school asked the children, what is the similarity between Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Ambedkar, Dr. Radhakrishnan, so on and so forth. There was a pin drop silence. One student stood up and said, they were all born on government holidays. But the real truth is, when they were born, those days were not government holidays. It was only by what they accomplished later in their life, by the passion with which they contributed to the society, to the nation, the manifestation of their personality, the reverence that they inculcated in the human mind, that culminated into the government declaring those days as government holidays. And therefore, each one of us, when we were born, the world did not take notice of our birth. Maybe our parents and few relatives took notice of our birth. We were not born to Aishwarya Rai and Abhishek Bachchan to be reported in the newspapers. That was not in our choice. But the same position need not continue all through our life. If Saina Nehwal can attract the world's attention by our, shuttle badminton skills, if Sachin Tendulkar can attract the global attention by his cricketing skills, why not you attract the world's attention by your professional skills, by your technological skills, by your finance skills? It is possible. Each one of us can surpass all the hurdles and bottlenecks that we face in our life and can qualify as chartered accountant and accomplish what others think as not possible to achieve. So therefore, my dear young students, it is possible for each one of us to pursue these goals. Whatever mission that you undertake, it is not difficult for you to accomplish. Each one of us need to justify our existence. How do we justify our existence? By trying to achieve things and make our parents, our well-wishers, our teachers, and the society and the nation feel proud about us, about our achievements. And it is possible for every one of you to overcome the limitations in which you are positioned today and look beyond and cross many more milestones before you reach the goal. If India's balance sheet is prepared, assets and liabilities are positioned, where should you fit in that balance sheet? You should fit into that balance sheet. You must justify your existence as somebody who should be reckoned with as the proud citizen of India. Where should you fit in yourself in the balance sheet of India? I am not for a moment trying to suggest that you must fit into the asset side of the balance sheet. You can be on the liability side, you can be on the asset side. But if you are on the asset side, try to be the goodwill of India. If you are fitting in on the liability side, try to be part of the general reserves so that this nation can draw out of you and declare dividend to the humanity at large. So with that in mind, you should be able to face this challenge and comprehend and march ahead and achieve the success. And there are only three kinds of people in this world. First, who make wonders happen. Next, who watch wonders happen. Third category, who wonder what happened. But I want all of you to belong to the first category and make wonders happen. In fact, my dear young friends, some of the queries that have come through, some of the questions that have been asked, I have attempted to answer it as part of my presentation. But let me see if there are any further questions that need to be addressed. Now, how to learn the section and retain them in the memory for presentation in audit or law paper or any paper. That is one of the questions. As I was mentioning, only by practice, by writing model exams, by writing and solving, by writing theory, taking notes, you will be in a position to remember the section numbers or case law names. One guy wanted to improve his memory power. You know what he did? He followed a suggestion given by his friend, bought memory pills. And the advice was, take 2 pills in the morning, 2 in the evening. 20 days you must consume and your memory will improve. So he started consuming, and after 6 days, he was searching for the bottle because he forgot where he kept the memory pills bottle. Artificially, you cannot improve the memory power. You can improve memory power only by getting more and more familiar with the contents of your syllabus. That familiarity will come only by the habit of writing, by the habit of solving, by the habit of working out. So it is mere reading will not help your memory power. It's by writing, because you write your answers by that method by which you should practice to improve your memory power. You just cannot buy a book on how to swim, read it 100 times and go and jump into the swimming pool and participate in a swimming competition. You have to literally practice by being in the waters, how to swim, how to do the strokes, what kind of strokes, and how much it takes. You should measure, you should monitor your progress, and consistently, then only you can participate in a swimming competition. And that is exactly the same. To present answers and improve your memory power, you need to practice. You must practice recapitulating, recalling the answers, and that you will do it only when you write model exams. Another question says, please tell me, is it necessary to quote section number? I have already answered this. It is not necessary, but by the method of your preparation, you will be in a position to quote few sections here and there, few names here and there, and that is more than good enough. And even if none of the answers contain section numbers or case law names, but in substance the answer is correct, you will get excellent marks. Kindly tell me something about the answer sheet evaluation with respect to IPCC and final. As I said, point by point, examiners are instructed to deliver the marks, and step-by-step marks are there. Proportionate marks you will get, and therefore you should not be finding it difficult. Then doing a foreign language course during my articleship. As I said, besides preparing for your exams, besides undergoing your training sincerely and get the practical exposure, side by side you can always empower yourself with knowledge and skill sets. And one of the skill sets I mentioned is linguistic skill sets. So it would be wonderful if you know one regional language, one national language, one international language. And beyond that, if time permits, nobody can stop you, more the merrier. But not at the cost of the top 2 priorities, namely practical training and preparing for the examinations. Then how do you prepare for theory papers? Preparing for problem-oriented subjects, theory subjects, it is all the same. First, familiarization round, read from beginning to end, be thorough in concepts. Second round, comprehension round, even in theory subjects, jot down notes, points, and diagrams, draw charts, flow charts. Try to understand the subject, comprehend the subject. Even in problem-oriented subjects, write the theory first. Be thorough on the concept of holding company, subsidiary company, then solve problems on those concepts. So learn the theory on break-even point, on operation cost. Just be thorough with the theory, then solve the problems. So that is how in every subject the approach is the same. Then another question is about how do I bridge the gap in my preparation because I am not able to present whatever I prepare. model exams. 2 model exams is the best way to prepare. Model mark pannirundha on the questions. So all those are some of the techniques that you need to adopt. Then yet another student is asking, will I be able to understand the concept without attending any coaching classes? As I said, self-study should be good enough. Only thing is you need to plan well in advance, because the time that you will consume will be longer. So on that basis, you will have to approach. Whereas with the help of a faculty, you should be in a position to master the subject much faster and better. You can pick and choose also for which subject you need all that guidance. Then I want your help and to know how to prepare for costing and financial management and taxation. As I said, there is no different techniques for different subjects. It is only the same approach that is required to be done. Which is the most scoring subject in CA final? You can ask the same question in IPCC also. Which is the most scoring subject? Interesting question. I'll answer this like this. You ask for statistics from the ICAI in any attempt, which is the first mark in every subject. You talk of auditing, you talk of company law, you talk of indirect taxes, direct taxes, any subject, you ask for the first mark. I'm not asking about the marks of a student who got All India first rank. Even All India first rank, if you see it, one subject it might be in 90s, another subject 50s, another subject 60s. No, that is not what I am suggesting. In every subject, in every attempt in the history of the institute, you ask for the first mark in any subject. You will be surprised to know it is always in 90s, if not at least in 80s. What does it prove? It proves that every subject is a scoring subject. Because some student is able to score in 90s in any of the subjects. Somebody has scored 90s in whatever subject you think it is difficult to score. So it is not, there is no deficiency of scoring capability as far as the subjects are concerned. Every subject can be a high scoring subject. It is only the aptitude that you have, the inclination that you have, the motivation that you have with which you pursue the subject, that translates into the scoring capability. So therefore, every subject is a high scoring subject. Another student says, I study a lot, but even I am not able to cross 55% due to poor presentation. As I told you, preparation is one part of the whole strategy. Presentation is a critical part. So practice for presentation, for performance in the examination. Please write 2 model examinations. For your, for example, if it is final, start with the first paper, write consecutive days, 8 examinations, ending with indirect taxes. Then second model exam, start with indirect taxes, end with the first paper on accountancy. So that your real exam accountancy is facing you and you are already ready for that. Then how to answer a practical question in the final examination, auditing subject. This is another important question the student has asked. See, in your examination, if there are straightforward questions or questions on concepts, many of you find it easy to answer them. But if there is a case study, a practical question, where your opinion is asked, your view is asked, your finding is asked, your conclusion is expected to be returned, how do you answer that question? Whether it is an auditing paper or in company law paper or in taxation paper, or for that matter any paper, when a practical case study is given and your view is asked or your opinion is asked, present your answer in 3 parts. First part of the question must contain the facts given in the question, analyzed by you in simple language. Whatever information is given in the question, in the case study, you are rewriting it by splitting them into simple sentences as how you have understood it. In fact, I can tell many of you, when you read the question, you will understand it to a certain extent. When you pick out the facts or the information in the question and analyze them in your own way, the understanding will be much better, much clearer, 100%. So, first part of the answer, you are only picking out the facts and information and analyzing it. First part. Second part, for these facts, what principle you have to apply? Which assurance standard gives that principle? Which section gives you that principle? Which case law gives you that principle? Which notification, gives you that principle? So borrow that principle and write that. Second paragraph, second part of the answer will contain only the relevant principles, concepts involved. So you are done with 2/3 of the answer without reaching the conclusion. Now first part has the facts as given in the question. Second part has the relevant principles that are required to be applied. Now read these two. Automatically your mind will feed you with the conclusion which is most appropriate to the situation. Then you write, given the facts, given the principles involved, this is the conclusion. So the third part only should contain your findings, your conclusions, your solutions to the case study, which will get the critical marks. I have seen many students writing the answer by starting with the third part first. This expenditure is not admissible because you have stopped thinking for the answer within few words and concluded it, and for the rest of the answer you are going to justify what conclusion you have already reached. Have an open mind, pick out the facts and write as first part, recapitulate the principles applicable and write the second part, read them. You have phenomenal amount of time. As you do these two parts, your subconscious mind will be processing the facts and the principles to give you the solution, give you the answer. Comfortably you will reach the right conclusion. And that third part, assuming, just for argument's sake, even assuming your conclusion is not the appropriate one, the way you have analyzed it, the way you have incorporated the relevant principles correctly in the second part, you will get proportionate marks. So therefore, adopt that pattern to answer practical questions. How to manage time during articleship period to study? As I said, morning 2 hours, evening 2 hours. If not, at least morning 1 hour, evening 1 hour. Otherwise, at least half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening. Coupled with weekend, about 10 hours, 12 hours to supplement your preparation. Consistently keep doing. By the time you get study holidays, you would have been through with most of the subjects, and then the revision will happen effectively and you will have time to write model exams. Is it necessary to have guidance from outside? As I have already told you, it is not inevitable, but student to student the perception can be different, and again you can pick and choose for the outside external guidance. Whether model answers are available with examiners at the time of evaluation of papers? Yes, they are provided with the model answers, and they are also instructed about the pattern of allotting marks, and there are checks and balances, and students' interest is preserved with utmost care at all stages, so that for no fault of the student would not suffer. That is ensured by the ICAI. Subject-wise guidelines, as I said, all subjects have to be treated alike, and what strategy applies to one subject applies to all subjects. So you need not discriminate or differentiate. Only one aspect on which you can differentiate or discriminate is in apportioning the time. You need not distribute the time equally to all subjects. You can distribute them equitably. So some subjects may demand more time, some subjects less time. So that you will know. And it will not be uniform for all students. So equitable distribution of time can be done. Do we need to prepare for all topics from the books provided by ICAI? As I said, ICAI study material plus one textbook will help you to comprehend and master the subject thoroughly. You can use them to complement each other. You can keep ICAI material as the base material and textbook as the referencer, or for certain subjects you can keep the textbook as the base material and keep ICAI material as the referencer. And even to solve variety of problems, you can borrow problems from the materials of ICAI and the textbooks, so that will give you wider exposure in solving more and more problems. What is the way to score good marks? The whole lecture is about how to prepare with a view to score good marks. And sometimes students lose out on marks mainly because they spend too much time on solving one question. Suppose there is a compulsory question which carries 30 marks, 25 marks. The student keeps logging to solve that question, and in the process he spends 90 minutes. So 90 minutes for 25 marks, and for the remaining 75 marks he will be struggling, he will be rushing to spend the remaining 90 minutes, which is an incorrect approach. So 2 points, as I said, time management, ration your answer and time proportionately, sequence it accordingly, so that and nothing comes in the way of your attempting 100 marks. That is one approach. Second approach is, suppose there is a lengthy question. Fortunately, you have 15 minutes to read the questions before the 180 minutes commence. That make use of it effectively. Second thing is, when the question is very lengthy, how do you present the answer? How do you approach it? How do you handle it? How do you attack such questions? Do you remember the story of an old man and his 3 sons, which you must have learnt it in the school? See, the father was concerned about lack of harmony or unanimity among the sons. They keep quarreling always. So the father calls the 3 sons, gives them a bundle of sticks, asking them to break it. Each one of them try, they are not able to break the bundle of sticks. Then the father asks them to open the bundle, take one by one, stick by stick, and break it. They are able to break all the sticks smoothly, easily. The moral of the story is, united you stand, divided you fall. Now you may ask, what is the relevance to the CA examination? Whenever an examiner is giving you a lengthy question, remember it as bundle of sticks. Look at it as bundle of sticks. So examiner has bundled so much information and asking you to break it. If you keep looking at the bundle, you get astonished by the size of the question, you will not be able to break it. Open the bundle. Pick out information in segments. So one set of information will help you to do working note number 1 and solve and reach one figure. Take another set of information and working note number 2. working note number 3, 4, 5. So arrive at the components of the answers by picking out information and solving them in bits and pieces. And side by side write some of the assumptions or notes. Then whatever derivatives you have got out of the working notes, you bundle all of that and give it as the solution to the examiner. He gave you bundle of sticks containing, in the form of question. You are giving the broken sticks in the form of answers, solution. So that is how you will have to handle. Then you will find that you are able to smoothly handle as far as voluminous questions are also concerned. I also want to know whether just understand the concept. See, at the IPCC level, you should have reasonable working knowledge. At CPT level, basic knowledge. So CPT level concept is good enough. IPCC level, besides knowing the concept, you must work out few problems. And at final level, you should be prepared for practical case studies, analytical questions, and you should be in a position to apply the principles you know in different set of situations or questions. Then yet another thing is, how many years question paper should we solve? As you are preparing, there is no standardized, set of question papers that you need to solve. As you are going through the comprehension round, mastering round, pick out at random basis few questions and try to solve them. Besides, you are going to answer 2 model question papers, isn't it? So include some of the past question paper questions also as part of the model question papers. So in that process, if you are able to glance through or solve about 5 examinations, 5 attempts, that should be good enough. Then 2 months left, how to prepare for CPT. CPT is an objective type of questions to be handled. So, and if in +2, if you have done CBSE syllabus, the syllabus of CPT more or less relates to that, barring that you need to know little more about certain subjects like maybe economics or mercantile law. But otherwise, accountancy or quantitative techniques, all those things are more or less synchronizing with the 12th subject. So therefore, you should be in a position to master and revise and then approach and write the objective type of questions which are asked in CPT examination. So that should not be any posing any difficulty for you. As we are nearing, the time allotted to us, that is 8 p.m., let me see whether there are any new questions that I can take up. Some of the students are asking, is it mandatory to study RTP before exams despite material? See, it is a question of testing your knowledge through various materials that are available. And RTP is one such good, source of questions with which you can test, you can compare, and you can verify whether you are, up to the mark, up to the standard. That's all. See, suggested answers, RTPs will empower you with an idea as to how to go about making presentation of answers. And even if you are in a position to mark up to 60% of RTP level or suggested level of answers, you should feel you are almost 100% good. That's how that standardization happens. The volume of answer that is given is, much more than what you are expected to write in the examination. So therefore, try to measure up to that standard, so that even if difficult questions are asked, you will be in a position to handle them properly. Then yet another question is, which is better, group wise or both the groups at IPCC level? The same question can be asked for final level also. If you can plan methodically, systematically, both the groups is an ideal situation, because all of us know the surplus in one group will come handy for the other group for you to get the aggregate. So therefore, ideal situation is to prepare and appear for both the groups, but unavoidably, due to extraneous circumstances, due to your personal reasons, it is possible that you are not in a position to prepare for both the groups, then attempt group-wise. There is no, don't have any inhibition at all. If consciously you believe that your caliber in terms of digesting so many subjects at a time is not easy, then take a conscious view that I will prepare group-wise and appear group-wise. Absolutely no difficulty. Your self-confidence should be sustained by your actions. So therefore, don't put yourself in a situation which is beyond your comprehension and then struggle with a low level of confidence. So therefore, ideal situation is to attempt both the groups, which most of you should be able to easily do it, but exceptionally you can opt for group-wise appearance also. Numerical sequence while solving an examination is an image maker. What the student is trying to ask is, if I answer the questions 1, 2, 3, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, then 4, like that, the person who is evaluating will get a good image about the student, that he knows everything he is answering. Don't go by that kind of an illusion. This is only imaginary feeling. Look at a situation where you know the first question moderately and you write it. In the process, you commit 2-3 mistakes. Second question, you don't know at all. I mean, you know the least, but still you are answering and then the third question, brilliant presentation. What kind of impression you have given to the examiner? The examiner will form his opinion also based on the standard of your answering. So therefore, I would recommend the third question, which you know the best, could have been answered at the first. That's why I said divide all the questions into 3 parts. Well-known, easy, answer. Well-known, difficult or time-consuming, answer. Then finally, rest of the questions can be attempted. That would be an ideal way of approaching. In practical problems, there's presentations such as drawing of accounts with pencil, writing, all these things, the small things of drawing the line, neatly numbering it, and where do you finish your answer, how do you start your answer, and how do you number the points, how do you refer to the working notes, everything matters. These are all small, tiny things, but in gathering 100 marks, all these things cumulatively play a role. And 2 students who write the same answer, I may not be surprised, one getting 5 marks out of 6 marks, another getting 4 marks out of 6 marks. Both have written the same answers. But the method of presentation has got this student 1 mark more than the other student. Imagine in a 6-mark question, 1 mark or half a mark can come extra. How much will come in answering all the questions like this? Purely out of your presentation skills. They do matter in your scoring capability. How to avoid fear on examination days. If you are prepared by adopting the strategy that we discussed just now and write 2 model exams, you won't know the meaning of fear as you walk into the examination hall. You know how you will walk into the examination hall after writing 2 model exams? You will walk in challenging within yourself, if not me, who else can pass? If not now, when else am I going to pass? I am going to pass this attempt with best of the marks. With that confidence you will be walking in. Fear will be unknown to you. So therefore, conclude your preparation effectively at least 2 weeks for IPCC, 20 days for final before the examination, and use that time gap for revising and writing model exams. 2 model exams. You can set your own model exams. In your own study place, you can write for 3 hours, 2 to 5 model exam, and in the night, 1 hour you spend on correcting those, evaluating that, for reassuring yourself. Don't bother if you have committed mistakes, if you have omitted points, because only by committing mistakes and by identifying those mistakes, you will ensure you will not repeat those mistakes in the real exam. And your memory power will be improvised. It will be strengthened. What points you missed out which you have noticed, you will not miss it in the real exam when those questions come. So you have to destroy the fear. And destroying the fear by writing model exam is the best way to achieve it. How much answer we should write for each question is the next question. Maybe I'll take that as the last question. As I mentioned, in a professional examination, it is not the size of the answer that matters. It is the quality of the answer, the quality, brevity, clarity, legibility with which you write the answer that matters. Those qualities will automatically come to you if you have only the first round, familiarization round, I have asked you to read. Second round onwards, it is a sin if a CS student sits to prepare without a pen and a paper or a notebook. From comprehension round to master round, then to practice for performance by writing 2 model exams, everything is by writing. So as you keep writing, solving problems, working out solutions repeatedly, and monitor the progress in terms of speed and accuracy, automatically you will know how much to write for each question. Only one additional point you can bear in mind, the number of marks given to the question. Suppose the one question is asked with 20 marks, you write accordingly a little bit lengthy answer. Same question, short notes, 2 marks. Write limited points, write 2-3 points, maximum 4 points. That is good enough for 2 marks. Maybe if it is carrying 20 marks, you try to write 20 points. So ration your answer. The size can be proportionate to the number of marks that are given, but otherwise what matters is the quality and not the size. So with this process, I wish you all the very best.